Welcome back to Turning Point Tonight, where we are charting the course of America's cultural comeback. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for sticking with us. I want to turn to our Frontlines reporter, Jonathan Cho, who had a really interesting story about double standards in the state of Washington. Watch this, and we'll discuss.
Pullman is farm country and is home to Washington State University, a campus that's focused on academic excellence and is supposed to be welcoming to diverse values and ideas.
So I was walking like this, my head down.
That's why Jay Sawney says he never imagined his political leanings would make him a target.
Patrick just probably hates Trump.
After a long day at work, the WSU junior says he got ambushed and jumped by Patrick Mahoney and Gerald Hoff.
Patrick ripped the hat off my head
for wearing this bright red Trump cap.
He said to me, "Go get it, bitch." So punched me a bunch of times on the back.
Sawney says they unleashed a vicious beatdown, all caught on surveillance cameras right in front of the Coug, a popular campus bar packed with students.
Gerald also kicked me also a bunch of times too. Patrick, he grabbed my chest, I slammed it on the concrete as I was falling.
He tried to defend himself,
so I had to go throw my food at his face.
But Sawney says 2 against 1 was just unfair.
And I was like, what the hell just happened?
And the melee left him with multiple scrapes and bruises.
All because of this, yeah.
Pullman police eventually found the pair nearby within hours of the chaos.
I've seen this guy campus before. Okay. I know he's like right-wing dude.
Mahoney and Hoff pretty much admitted to the allegations.
I grabbed his hat, threw it, and I said, go get it. We did grab him and bring him to the ground.
But tried to downplay the incident.
I didn't hit him. I don't think I did something illegal, right?
It's unwanted touching.
It's unwanted touching. I don't know what that is, right?
In fact, Mahoney tried to victim blame.
He wanted to fight. He got what was coming to him.
The officers didn't buy that story and arrested them on the spot.
You have the right to an attorney if you cannot afford one.
They're now facing 4th-degree misdemeanor assault charges.
See, the thing is that this country, was also built, around tolerance.
Sawney says he doesn't know Hoff, but his prior interactions with Mahoney may have played a role in this assault, since the two are at opposite ends of the political spectrum.
Patrick said, I'm a communist because the system fails people.
Sawney is a Republican and volunteers with conservative groups on campus like Turning Point USA.
Can you tell me about Patrick?
He seemed like a nice dude.
Mahoney is a WSU graduate student and instructor, teaching a freshman-level political science class.
Had his beliefs and
by all accounts, Mahoney is a notorious far-left activist.
Of course, I'm going to think you are beyond insane.
Who hates conservative values and is a regular at pro-Hamas protests in the city.
Almost 30,000 Gazan civilians have been killed.
Recently, he was part of a group pressuring the Pullman City Council to pass a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, but that went nowhere.
To support the resolution.
Workers everywhere are rising up.
Sawney says Mahoney has strong ties to the Democratic Socialists of America, progressive pro-labor groups, and is someone who publicly touts his admiration for the Communist Party. Look at the hammer and sickle pin he's wearing in this official school photo.
Mahoney's goal is to turn this country into a communist dictatorship or a communist authoritarian system.
I give him a hit to be like, don't with this anymore.
This violent incident happened in late February, and the school temporarily suspended Mahoney from classes and teaching duties. But Sawney is speaking up now since he's hearing his attacker could be reinstated and doesn't want that to happen.
He really shouldn't be teaching here, in my opinion, because, if you can't tolerate different opinions, then what's the point?
School leaders would not comment on this matter, citing student privacy laws.
I wanted to see if Mr. Mahoney wants to tell his side of the story.
No, go away.
Mahoney refused to talk after I door-knocked him at his off-campus apartment.
Gerald's in the black. Gerald Hoff is in the black.
We were unable to reach Hoff to get his side of the story, but found his LinkedIn account indicating he's employed at WSU. Again, the school would not comment on Hoff's status either.
Trump won the elections because the left was so toxic.
Meanwhile, Sawney is still wearing that MAGA cap and frequently getting dirty looks on campus. But he's also getting tons of love from students and faculty who respect him for sticking to his convictions.
You must be sick and tired of getting bullied.
It does become exhausting, yes.
The university is now preparing for an event on April 17th featuring TPUSA founder and CEO Charlie Kirk.
You can't express your beliefs like as openly as some of the left-leaning students can. Like when I'm tabling for Turning Point here on campus, I've been cussed out, I've been flipped off.
It's already drawing online chatter from violent militant groups like Antifa and other left-leaning students who are promising to disrupt and cause chaos.
I think the only thing that we can hope is that those individuals are held accountable for their actions. And golly, don't let that guy teach at your school after assaulting students. Wild. Hopefully, there's some accountability to be had there at WSU. I believe they also mentioned that Charlie Kirk will be up there tomorrow. So if you're in the area, should be a fantastic event. We hope and pray that everything stays civil, because civil discourse is our only way forward. We believe that to our core. Let's bring our guests back in. Amber Duke is a senior editor for the Daily Caller. Braeden Sorbo is a conservative commentator, among many other things. Guys, so the New York Times had a big piece about how the Trump administration is attacking our higher education. Big, long article, a lot to read through, but I think it was instilled mostly with this phrase: the opaque process is upending campuses nationwide, leaving elite institutions long accustomed to operating with relative freedom from Washington reeling from blunt force political attacks. Amber, is that a fair way of characterizing what the Trump administration is doing? Or, I mean, in my opinion, they've been going one direction so hard for so long that pulling back even slightly seems to them like, oh, this is a disaster. What do you think?
I would rarely say that the government said it best. Like, there's a very rare case when I would say that, but here they did. They said investment is not entitlement, which means if you are being funded by taxpayer dollars, then there are going to be guardrails based on what you can do with that money. And there's been amazing precedent for this. I was kind of flummoxed to see Barack Obama, of all people, call this an attack on academic freedom when he was the one who changed the rules to Title IX to strip due process protections from people accused of sexual assault on campus and threaten universities with federal funding being pulled if they did not comply. Same with Joe Biden. We're going to include gender identity as a protected category under Title IX. And again, if you don't get rid of all your single-sex spaces or allow trans people to invade them, then you will lose your federal funding. This is an even stronger case from the Trump administration because these universities engaging in DEI are actively violating civil rights law and Title IX at the same time. So there's no reason for them to keep their federal funding. It would actually be a dereliction of duty if the Trump administration let them keep it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It really is just seems to be common sense guardrails. Braeden, speaking of that, like, do you think that the Trump administration is pushing too far? Because to me, everything that they've put forward seems like, well, this seems normal. This seems like common sense. Why would you not already do this? And yet the university systems are still freaking out.
Well, the universities themselves are overrun with corruption. I mean, that's just a fact. It doesn't necessarily matter which university you go to. You're going to end up experiencing something like this to a certain degree. Now, when it comes to funding, especially from government funding, I 100% agree with Amber and the Trump administration. The government has money and it can do with it as it pleases. It's especially funny to watch the left freak out and lose their minds over this and say Trump's ignoring the courts and he's ignoring all this and he's ignoring all that. And then when Biden ignored courts when it came to student loan forgiveness or other things with Medicaid, they applauded him and said, good for him fighting against the corrupt systems in place. And so you kind of have this, it's almost an oxymoron. It's just, I can't stand the mental gymnastics that the left goes through to try to justify attacking this administration for doing common sense things.
Well, thinking of mental gymnastics, let's just be thankful that it's not actual gymnastics, because I think our former president, the guy who put all of those DEI policies into place, would not fare too well. And speaking of President Biden, he gave his first big speech after his presidency yesterday, in which, you know, we don't need to go through what he was saying. That's not really why we're here specifically. We're here to make fun of him. And so with that, let's play this very short clip from the Biden speech yesterday. Watch this.
And I'd never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time I was only going in the 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by.
Uh-oh. I don't think you can say that anymore. Amber, I'm just curious, what do you think is going on behind the scenes at the DNC? Because clearly nobody over there wants Joe Biden to remind the American people, oh yeah, all of these people lied to us about this guy's senility and his mental capability. Like, what, is there panic? Is who's making these decisions that was a good idea for him to go talk?
There must be panic. I mean, the guy also started talking like 30 seconds before the music actually faded out at the beginning of his speech, so you couldn't even hear what he was saying. And you have all of these former Biden aides now talking to reporters for their big blockbuster books about how Biden was sneaking away from debate prep to go fall asleep by the pool, and how he was confused as to whether he was president of NATO or the US, and that staffers were even preparing for him to literally die in office as early as 2023. They're trying to distance themselves as much as possible from Biden. But I mean, the problem obviously is that the American people knew that Biden had issues dating back to the beginning of his presidency. So this sort of like, oh, hindsight is 2020 look-see is not going to fool anybody.
Yeah, sneaking off to the pool to avoid debate prep actually sounds kind of nice. But
yeah, relatable.
yeah, not when you're in that position with his mental state. Hey, Braeden, so the whole, I mean, I hate to put you on the spot here, but the big controversy, you know, nobody says colored people anymore. Having said that, the NAACP, that's what CP stands for, colored people. I don't know, is it still a bad term? Is it all of a sudden okay to say now? I'm sorry that I'm leaving this to you to decide, but what are your thoughts?
Oh, no, I'm fine having this power. Frankly, all of the words are slowly coming back. They're all coming. People are finally taking power back and removing the power that goes behind the words. But can we really expect better? I mean, he said he didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle while he was serving as a representative.
Yeah, classic Biden in his, I don't know, silly oopsie daisies. Amber Duke, Braeden Sorbo, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up next is a clip from Alex Clark's Cultural Apothecary podcast that you're not going to want to miss. Don't go away. We'll be right back at Turning Point Tonight after this.